Are you new to real estate investing, but in 2021 have a desire to get started and make some money? Well, if so, then this video is for you. In this video, I want to share with you 6 tips that I think are a great place for anyone to begin their real estate investment journey. But before we dive into that, a little bit of house cleaning. I'm Chris Nelson with Gemstone Realty, and this channel is all about real estate advice, tips, and tech. So if any of that excites you, you're in the right place. But do me a favor, drop me a comment, hit the thumbs up, consider subscribing, and mash that bell so that you're notified of my future content. Step number one. Step number one is really simple, and it's also very important to help keep you from additional liability, and that is to create an LLC. I can't tell you how many people I come in contact with who are investors who are actually doing investment opportunities under their name. Whether these are flip opportunities or buy and hold opportunities, you want to do your best to alleviate liability. And if you are doing some flips, creating an LLC can also give you some additional tax advantages. But rather than speaking about those advantages here, and because I'm not an accountant, I'm going to advise you to speak with someone who knows a little bit more about the ins and the outs, about tax returns, and some of the pros and cons that comes along with having an LLC as an investor. Now, you can go online for a few $100s to websites such as LegalZoom, or you can do it yourself or hire someone to do it. But either way, it should only be a few $100s and should be one of the very first things you do if you are considering becoming a real estate investor. The next thing you want to do is you want to get specific. One of the biggest downfalls that I see a lot of investors have is that they don't know what they're looking for. They're constantly chasing that shiny nickel. So when I say get specific, what I mean by that is identify the type of property that it is you're looking for. Now, if you're doing buy and flips, this is extremely important because you want to be able to maximize your dollar. You want to be able to take supplies that you finished from one job and maybe move them to another job, whether it be carpet, tile, paint, or anything to that extent. It helps when you have what I'm going to refer to as an avatar. So get specific and identify whether or not you're looking for single family homes, whether or not you're looking for homes that were built within a certain year, homes that offer a certain amount of square footage or are under a certain amount of square footage, bedroom, bathroom count, and so forth. Once you determine that, now you know exactly what opportunities you should be looking for, rather than just being on the reactive side and constantly responding to opportunities that will present themselves once you let people know that you are now in the investment space. You will be presented with opportunities often, and to be honest, a lot of them are going to be outside of your wheelhouse. So figure that out early, and stick to that plan because it's only going to make life easier for you as time progresses. The next thing you want to do, now that you know what type of property it is you're looking for, is to get familiar with the market. And if you're a beginner, I highly suggest focusing on properties that are right in your very own backyard or properties that you can get to relatively easily. The last thing you want to do is put trust in someone such as a contractor or another realtor who is going to oversee your project and not do it in the fashion in which it needs to be done. When you're a real estate investor, every day is a dollar. You have holding costs and a whole bunch of other fees that you don't want to continue to let rack up. So the sooner you can get in and out of these projects, the better. And by knowing your market, it gives you the opportunity to have the upper hand. You're going to know the difference between why you're buying on this particular block and not the next block down. You're going to know what your average buyer looks like. You should know your average days on market, and you should really have your numbers dialed in at that point, and it makes it a lot easier if you are familiar with the market in which you are investing in. If you're unfamiliar with the market, not that you can't make money, but there's a little bit more risk because now you're dependent on other people's opinions and you are subject to a market that you just don't know what to expect. So get familiar with your market once you determine what type of property you're looking to buy and make it happen. Now that you know the type of property you're looking for and now that you know your market, now is the time to remove any and all emotion from your decisions. Real estate can be very emotional. Matter of fact, for traditional real estate, emotion is one of the biggest driving forces when it comes to someone buying or not buying a home. Yes, location is always number one, but people make their decisions based on emotion. They want to see their child walk to this school. They want to be within so many miles of their mother or their father or their sister. Whatever the situation may be, those are all very emotional decisions. But when it comes to real estate investing, you have to remove all emotion. So the fact that the property is near a school that you like may not have as much weight since you're not going to be living in that property. Or the fact that the living room isn't as big as you might like it, well, that's also an emotional decision because you picture in your mind certain things happening in that space, which may not coincide the buyer's lifestyle. So remove all emotion, make sure that the decisions that you are making are based on the numbers and the numbers only. All right, now that we made it that far, the next thing you want to start to do is to start to understand the numbers. And I'm not talking about numbers as far as value of homes go. You want to start to get educated on the cost of repair. Now, I'm not telling you to go and be a contractor or even go as far as learning as much as a contractor would, but it becomes very beneficial when you can go into a property without a contractor and say, you know what, that is a $7,000 kitchen, not a $15,000 kitchen. And that is a $3,500 bathroom renovation, not a $5,000 bathroom renovation. Because when you do this, it puts you in a position where you can actually go back to your spreadsheet, get your numbers together, and make an offer quickly. 2020 was a very fast-paced seller's market, and I definitely expect the same thing for this year. So being quick and efficient when it comes to preparing and presenting your offer is key. Sellers are not going to wait for you to go back and do all of your due diligence because they could also miss out on an opportunity. So make sure you are spending some time educating yourself and becoming familiar with the numbers. It goes without saying, if you're going to be in this space, you need to have decent credit. Now, your credit doesn't need to be excellent. You don't need an 800 credit score. However, the stronger your credit, obviously the better. I think that applies for pretty much any scenario. But when you are involved with real estate investing, you have to be creative. And by being creative, sometimes you have to use financing options that aren't traditional. A lot of successful real estate investors, including myself, generally use hard money. And if you're not familiar with what hard money is, a quick Google search will provide all the information you need. But what I can tell you is that it's not like going into your big bank, putting in a mortgage application, and going through the traditional means of financing. Hard money has been and continues to be a financing vehicle for investors to create leverage. And in my experience, you really want to get around a 650 credit score so that you can apply and be creative when the opportunity presents itself. And last but not least, network. Network with people who have been doing this and can actually give you some advice, because in all honesty, if you network accordingly, all of the previous 5 steps can be leveraged by some of the people that you will come in contact with when you network. To give you an example, I try to network as much as I possibly can, and in my sphere, I have people who are great with repairing credit. So I have my credit specialist. I have people who can help me put together LLCs, whether that be my accountant or my attorney. I also have contractors who I've met when I've gone to other projects or I've gone to other local networking opportunities. But as you can see, these are all people that you want to have in your sphere because they'll help you understand how the numbers work, what type of properties you should be focusing on based on your financial ability, and the list goes on. So networking, in my opinion, probably has more value than any of the other 5 bullet points, because in life, it's not always what you know, more so who you know, and this is a prime example of that. So there you have it. There are 6 tips that will hopefully help you get your foot in the door and get you on the right track to real estate investing. And there's plenty more that I can share with you, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below or reach out directly. But with all of that said, I hope you found some value in this video. Check in next week for the very next Just a Tip Tuesday with Chris. Until then, take care.